Greetings and Shimon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Gloves Off Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Super Smash Brothers and Super Smash Brothers adjacent. I, as always, am your spooky co-host, or one of your co-hosts, Mr. Master Hand Games Koopa, joined, as always, to the, I guess pig pen to my I Gotta Rock. That's where I'm going to go with this week, Mr. Chris CX. And Chris, let me be the last one to wish you a very happy 23rd birthday.
Oh, thank you. I'm very, very, very happy that you used my real age. Yes, it's been a very good 23 years. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, you've accomplished quite a lot for somebody your age. Like, I hope I can accomplish just as much. And joining the spookiness this week, we're bringing him back, the voice of New England and the beard of New England. Also, Mr. Hazmat Rules. What's up, buddy?
What's good, guys? What's going on?
Yeah, happy to have you back, and let me wish both of you a happy Back to the Future day. So,
You're gonna wish me.
I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced because I feel like that photo gets cropped all the time.
I think literally every date has been done on that meme. You know what I'm saying? Like every possible calendar date has existed in that meme format.
Look, all I'm saying is that Huey Lewis definitely has to use his credit card to ride the train. So, who's really winning here?
True.
Yeah, but anyway, we bring you guys here again for another week. We're back here recording on a Monday. We were going to do this earlier in the week, but, Chris had to celebrate his day of birth, and also Nightmare on Smashville was yesterday. So we didn't want to have a podcast uploaded that was incredibly dated, like hours after we posted it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of implications going off of Nightmare on Smashville because Summit is quickly approaching. And, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Nightmare on Smashville itself. Look at the power rankings that all came out for the respective Northeast regions and kind of, not everyone has their stuff all out at once. We can kind of look at it and see, who did what and, alongside our own PR if you guys had missed that.
Yeah, there's a power ranking season's always like that's like the everyone looks forward to that. And then when they all start coming out, you see the retweets, but it kind of like comes in like a supernova and then just burns like right out. But it's still fun.
You see the retweets. You see the salty retweets. Like, my boy should have been on there. I should have been on there. You see all those and everything in between.
That's partially why we do the reveal stream, so that way I can like save my DMs of like the salty. Why is X above Y and Z above A? And I'm just like, bro, shut up.
It's like let me tell you.
I like the way you guys do it. Where you make them do the legwork. That's dope as hell.
That's
If you want stats to be included, you don't want things to be forgotten. There's like 800 of you and 4 of us on this panel. You know what? It makes a lot more sense for you to come to us.
Yeah, that was Kufa. It was I think that was like you and RJ basically coming up with that.
Smart.
Yeah. We actually got like a lot of we got a fair amount of backlash from that from like certain people where they're just like, that's so asinine, and I'm just like, bro, like, do you know how many like tournaments go undocumented, and people are like, oh, you forgot about this 32-person college tournament that I won over X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, okay, like, how am I supposed to know that? Like, we already have so much to do, like, on our own merit. And granted, like, this is charity work. Like, I'm not getting compensated by any means to do this. So
forget about all that, man. Like, all it takes is a Google sheet, which is what we use. And every tournament for you to just be like, you just write yourself a list. Beat this person, this person, this person.
Yep.
Done. And that's it.
Also, the amount of people that don't know how to like properly use Google Docs is astounding. If you're in college, my God,
who are the real boomers? That's what I want to know. There's no excuse.
Boomer sheets.
It was something, but we eventually got it. We will get to that eventually. But I guess we could start off with the meteor topic. Right now is where we're going to talk about Nightmare on Smashville, and one of the strangest 2GG tournaments that kind of come and go. Number one, I didn't realize until like a week ago that this tournament was going to be on a Sunday.
Yeah. Dude, I was going to say, when we were planning on doing the show on Sunday, it's because I think we all thought that this would be over by Sunday. That we were coming into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I did. It was, I guess, kind of nice to have a tournament to watch on a Sunday, but you think about a tournament like that, 400 so people, and a lot of people traveling out and everything like that, and you just see a Sunday, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I got exactly one message from a friend of mine that was going, and she was like, fuck, like, I thought the tournament was on Saturday. So she flew in 2 days early, and she's like, what am I going to do?
Dude, they got bean boozled.
Yo, bring back Bean Boozled,
Yo,
dude. You
bring it
guys know
back.
I love that skit. I legitimately, I don't know if this is probably super lame of me, but I legitimately thought Bean Boozled was funny. Like, I don't know if I'm like lame for that, but that's really how I feel in my heart.
I feel like it
I,
was a cute idea. Like I could appreciate it for like what it was, just like a Smash Brothers channel. They get like this kind of like sponsorship from Jelly Belly, and it's like you're being boozled. They're like trying to figure out like it was cute. It's
It's
cute.
so
I like
good, dude.
watching. I like watching YouTubers do it because like it's just fun watching people eat like butter popcorn or like diaper. Like
Oh,
just like the contrast is just so funny to me.
I hate how you said those too, because the color works out.
I've watched a lot of Bean Boozled.
Is that a real one? You didn't
I
make that
think
up?
so, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Diapers one?
I think so, yeah. Or like and like
Bro.
vomit,
Bro.
like cafeteria, college cafeteria Chinese food, like that might be one in a
That sounds kind of
decent
good,
universe.
actually.
Can't relate, but I digress.
I hate that you
This isn't
said
about me.
I hate that you just said like college something or other because that just makes me think of so many flavors that could be added to the repertoire that would just be disgusting.
Right.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
eaten too much cafeteria food at Rutgers University before, so
That,
it's
true.
but if I'm going to Rutgers, that's the least of my problems. Heyo, moving
See ya.
on here. Yeah, so this tournament very weird. Sunday only tournament. From what I read online, there is a couple of snafus in regards to scheduling and stuff. So the tournament ran a little long, but still got done on a decent time on the East Coast, which is dope. Um, like with all things are said and done, the tournament ended I think like 10:30, 11 o'clock Eastern time. So I was able to like watch a tournament and like not feel like I just like ran a marathon the previous day.
and what did you think of your watching experience?
Mr. Game and Watch is a sin and a problem, but good on Meister because if you haven't watched the tournament yet, spoilers. This was also the last chance qualifier for Summit, which is we're going to talk about a little bit later. Which was won by Mexico's #1 player and Mr. Game and Watch extraordinaire. Literally Nair. Get it?
Is,
Haha, funny.
is Leo officially not like? Is that?
I
Is he
think
just number one in
Meister's.
the world?
Yeah, I think so. I think Meister has said he's like the #1 player in Mexico. So like,
Fair enough. I feel like
I,
Leo
I,
spends a lot of time over here anyway. I don't
yeah,
really know.
I think he like lives here. Like, I think it's like kind of like how like Zero lived here, and like we still put the Chilean flag and everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but Leo's an honorary Floridian, I guess. But yeah, so this tournament was won by Meister. He kind of dominated, and I was kind of looking at the people going to this tournament, and we talked about this like I think during Big House, not during the last time we spoke in regards to Nightmare at Smashville, but like Meister was like he was the #1 seed going into the tournament. He was probably my favorite to win just because of how well he under any normal circumstance he probably would have gotten the summit spot at Big House, but
Yeah.
because two other people popped off harder than he did, he kind of got cooked. So like a part of me felt a little bad for him, and then to see him come out here and kind of decimate everybody with this character that is just burst onto the scene. It was quite interesting to say the least.
I think burst onto the scene is a good way to put it because the meta has been totally different recently. Like you're seeing Game and Watch, you're seeing Rob. Like Snake's not new, but
what was I gonna say? So we were talking about it a little bit off air before we hopped on, but I think he's my answer for probably the #1 person who has influenced or changed the meta in like a weird way is Meister, because I feel like a ton of Game and Watchers just gave up on him instantly when the game came out, like near instantly, like, oh, he's trash now, he can't do this, which was such a Smash 4 thing in retrospect, because a lot of people felt the same way about Mario, about a bunch of other characters who are now proven to be like pretty damn high tier, if not top tier. So a lot of people are like, oh, they lost this and that, they're trash characters, can't do anything.
So what do you think?
So,
Like, I feel like that says a bit because I feel like I like where your thought process is at because the way this game is balanced, I think, is just so different than 4. Because you had mentioned just a second ago, like, yeah, that's something you'd see in 4, and at that point, it was reasonable because you had characters like Bayonetta and Cloud that were just like so dominant, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, I think this game is brilliantly balanced. Honestly, I think we've seen success. Like even looking, let's just look at Nightmare without even thinking about it. Let's look at the top 8 of Nightmare on on Smashville. It's Game and Watch, Inkling, Snake/Hero, Bowser. Already there. I think that's just the top 4.
Then there's Ness and Shulk.
Shulk, Ness, Fox, potentially Dr. Mario, like just so many other characters. Like it's just so like there wasn't one repeat character in there. I don't think. No.
I think you're correct in that statement.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Larry, I think, Larry was there too. Wolf and Falco maybe sometimes. So it's just like, yeah, the roster is ridiculously balanced. At least at this point in history, it's really, really balanced. And I feel like people at one point thought X or Y character was broken or overpowered. I feel like there were some good small balance patches, and I feel like a lot of the characters are viable at a high level. It's crazy. We've seen every character has had their day basically, except for a couple.
Yeah, like I think the big glaring difference you see in the game now versus the game how it used to be is that there isn't like that one character that's kind of like the heat check character. Like
Yeah.
Like characters like Game & Watch. Like I didn't think Mr. Game & Watch, he was pretty bad in Smash 4, but like, Meister is like no stranger to like winning Smash 4 tournaments, but like everybody would have like a common poor matchup. Like, Mr. Game & Watch got
Cloud.
bodied by it all boiled down to DLC. So
Cloud
like,
was a huge check for him for sure. Cloud was that character for a lot of characters actually. Bayo obviously is the best character in the game, but I feel like Cloud influenced the meta a little bit more because if you lost a Cloud, everyone had a secondary Cloud, and B, Cloud destroyed your character most likely because the way his playstyle was, it was bad. Like it would hurt your character so bad if he could just keep you out and combo you and destroy you. Like it was just so rough.
He was the original Ultimate character before Ultimate came out. When you were thinking about it, movement, nair, everything.
Totally, man.
And then it transitioned into Roy like day -5 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like Roy was just a couple of years early. He's like the 2016 New York Yankees where like they were a year early to their championship.
Right.
I'm still sad about.
I was just saying you had to bring up the Yankees, huh, man?
Yeah, I'm still
bring it up.
I'm still depressed, but this isn't a sports podcast, nonetheless.
Grieving, yes.
Yeah, so Meister, he looked super solid from the games that I watched. He had, I think, one like scare against Charlie the King like earlier in the day where Charlie was smoking his shit, and but Meister just kind of like clutched it out and won.
Did you see that one clip? I don't know if you have Zan's Twitter.
I saw it. It was
Jesus Christ, it's top level gameplay. Like just Jesus Christ, dude. And I think that's kind of a sign of like where Game & Watch is as a character, where I feel like he's solid, but I feel like Meister's obviously carrying him, and B, I feel like people aren't used to, or he's used to getting away with things like that. Like you could just spam. For those of you who don't know, he spammed down there like 4 times or 3 times. And Charlie just up smashed him every time. And the best is the last one is that Meister down aired off stage and Charlie tried to up smash on stage anyway. Like it just wasn't even close. It's an amazing clip if you have Zan's Twitter available.
Yeah, I'm
go check that out.
Looking for it right now. It's dude, Zan tweets a lot, man. Jesus.
Yeah, he does. That's my dude right there.
I'm just like scrolling through, trying to
number 0 in New Jersey, Zan. Absolutely busted.
I think it's just a show that people have stuff to work on in the matchup. To take this character seriously, like that's a huge thing, and a huge, like, that's why I'm saying Meister is one of the biggest influences of the meta right now. As I feel like if he didn't exist, Game & Watch, I think, might have fallen into obscurity and never played again. And I feel it's the same way for a couple of characters. Like we talked about Pac-Man before the show started, where T and Sinji still carrying that character, even though I think a lot of people said they were going to drop Pac-Man when this game came out, and then once it came out, I was like, actually, he's kind of nice. So they came back to him, but it's because players like T and Sinji kept playing him, very similarly to how Meister alone pretty much is carrying the Game & Watch meta and making him a character that we all have to deal with.
Yeah, and you've also seen this happen to characters like Ike, like in the beginning of the game, where Ike was sort of the flavor of the week, and like he died off once Leo moved on to greener pastures, and like Pichu was a character that was like super like meta relevant, but like that was more of a victim of like, I think Pichu got hammered just a little bit too hard. IMO.
I still think he's a top tier character still. I like that character a lot. I wish he didn't get nerfed though. I think he was fine before, but
I agree, but mum's the word on that, I guess.
Dude, that might be a hot take for some people.
What, the Pichu was fine before?
Yes.
He was totally fine before. He's better now, but like well, I don't know about that. I think he was fine before. I think he was just a polarizing character. I feel like people weren't playing against him correctly. I still feel like people aren't playing against him correctly. What's my resume? I have a good win on a really, really highly ranked Pichu in a losing matchup, so there you go.
Not bad for a commentator.
Not bad for a commentator.
Was that with pre-patch, Ken? when you beat him?
No, that was post patch.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I wish, bro. That would be so legendary.
They
No,
would have put the
but
if you outside of TD Garden.
if me, Bobby Orr, all the greats. He so I think people still play against that character very incorrectly, but Black Twins just went off with Pichu actually this weekend, so
Yeah, he's like the one guy that's still like doing it. So.
well, that's what I'm saying. The character's still good. Like the character still gets results. I think he's just polarizing. I think he's hard to play at a top level, and I think people do know the counterplay. But I feel like he was nerfed too hard too early. You know what I mean? Like too young. You know what I'm saying? Like it just there wasn't enough time to let people figure it out. I feel like
it's only a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, he is baby.
Yeah,
facts.
but we'll see how things like catch up like with the meta. Like this sort of happens in spades, like we've been saying. Like every character, like you said, like certain top tiers have kind of had their time to shine. So I'm curious to see how things affect Mr. Game & Watch. I think the big difference here being is that Meister is a character specialist. Like the only there aren't any new Mr. Game & Watch mains. It's literally like the same people that like played him in Smash 4 and like maybe a couple of other ones I'm forgetting. But like which is really weird. Like Mexico seems to be like the breeding ground
didn't Gons pick up
So
Game & Watch?
yes,
he's
but-
always played Game &
Yeah, I was
Watch.
gonna say, but Gons has
Oh, he
always
did
had
Smash
like
4.
a
Okay, I
really.
didn't know.
He's always had like a really weird Game & Watch, like always.
Yeah, that was his second GG James character. Like he would just use Game & Watch when he didn't.
Yeah,
feel
like
trying to get
anytime
James.
he'd make grands and he was gonna lose, like because it was just like that. James would just 3-0 Gons. Like Gons would make it the grands, everyone would be pissed, and James would just beat him every time terribly, and then Gons would just eventually just pick Game & Watch like every time.
Oh, okay. So he had it in him before. I feel like Jen was picking up Game & Watch, or no? Is that fake
Whoa.
news?
That's I hope
That's fake. That's fake. Okay, that's fake. Okay, that's just
I was
my
like,
brain somewhere.
whoa.
Okay, I know. Yeah, by both your reactions, I guess we can.
Dude, but what if he
understand that
is?
was fake. I don't think so. I think I made that up. Jet's playing Fox. That's what it is. I knew he was picking up somebody.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
he's got
Fox
Fox.
for real.
He's got
Okay, there you
Fox,
go.
yeah.
There it is. Okay,
That for sure.
there
Found
you
it.
go. Very, very different character, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, what was I saying?
You said
Like,
character specialist. Sorry.
yeah, like there are like, there aren't a lot of like new Mr. Game & Watch mains, and even Cosmos like said it in his like post game tweet after he lost. He's like, I'm gonna have to practice this matchup, but like, I don't know how I'm going to, because like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be really hard to find that level of practice like Mr. Game & Watch stateside, especially because like using my own brain, like, not someone else's brain. What? Okay, Kyle, but like,
You good, big dog?
nah, it's been a long Monday for sure.
True.
Have you ever thought about that? Like Mexico is kind of cornering the market on Mr. Game & Watch mains, because like, but before Meister was even a thing, like Reggie was the hot, the new hot thing coming out of Mexico, and now all of a sudden it's. I don't know. There's like the market on Mr. Game & Watch is like very international, I guess. But
Yeah. He's just. I don't know, man. I feel like this is gonna be a big thing on the meta here. The thing I'm scared of is Tweak gonna pick up Game & Watch? Like, is that a thing? Because
Oh,
he's known to
God.
pick up characters once they seem to do okay. And I mean, he's obviously one of the best players in the world and can play every character. So I have a feeling he's been picking that character like secretly. I don't think he likes him. Probably not. That would be my guess. But I don't know, man. Tweak with Game & Watch, because he always tweets about how he loves to try to time people out on Wi-Fi. So what a great character to do that with.
Oh my god, dude, that sounds
I know.
awful. That
I
sounds
know.
so awful.
I kind of like it's so terrible. And I kind of love it.
it'd be a very Tweak move. Although the last I checked, he said he was trying to pick up Snake. So
Didn't he
I
say you wanted to
saw-
pick up Mega Man at one point?
Yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
tweet earlier. I think it might have been either Sunday or today, where he was like, the lineup is Trainer, Banjo, and Wario, which I like. That's a dope lineup. So whatever. I
dig it.
like pretty much any character he plays, anyways. Just the way he plays the game. Because
Same,
when
honestly.
he plays a character, I'm like, that's how you fucking play the character. Like that's the thing I like about it. Which is why if Tweak played Game & Watch, it would be like the most toxic thing that's ever existed. I want to play a character, and I'm like, that's correct. So if he played Game & Watch, I'd be like, that's fucking correct.
It would-
unfortunately.
It would fit, man. Tweak's kind of a shitter. Like
Uh-huh.
on the low, like no one actually realizes it, but he really is. It's kind
Which
of
is
you know
why-
what? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, which is why I'm incredibly excited to see him at Summit, because like
Yep.
Tweak is gonna ask that one like off the wall question, and somebody's gonna have like a major malfunction, and like you're just not gonna know how to like process it.
It's wild because if you remember last time, he didn't make it into Summit. He didn't really campaign, to be fair, and they didn't invite. I don't think they invited anyone. Did they invite Leo? Actually,
No, so they invited Nairo, Leo, and Zero, and then they invited Mewtwo King, Mango, and Leffen
Wow,
or
good
something.
memory. That's right.
Yeah, I I try every day. Yeah, they invited those guys, and then like the rest filled out accordingly. I forget who got that last slot, who won that last chance qualifier. Was it?
Peeb
Was
Nut. No, I'm just kidding.
no, it was
Remember
no.
Peeb?
Let's Peeb Nut.
Peeb? I
It
love
was
Peeb Nut, dude. He
I
just
think it
tweets
was
Mega
Paris
Plan.
actually.
No, Paris got the first. Paris is the first one in. It's facts.
Did he?
No,
He got
sorry.
the last chance.
That was for. Yeah, sorry. No, I was literally thinking of Smash 4 Boot Camp. We voted him in. The only time we ever successfully voted someone in.
Yeah. Yeah, but
yeah.
we
Paris
can.
is the. What was the last? What was it called? He beat Esam with the up air again. The fuck was that tournament called?
Nimbus.
Nimbus. Nice, dude. You're killing it today.
Hey,
Hell yeah. So
Woo,
we got a
I'm on
sound.
a
Do we
roll.
have a sound effect for that?
We need
Like a
to
correct
drop
answer?
dude.
so
Oh my
bad.
god, I need the.
You need a
I have
soundboard,
I
bro.
have a. Well, so I have a. What do you call it? Those
Stream
things
Deck?
that.
The
Yes,
Stream Deck?
I got
Dude,
one.
me
I
too.
gotta
I have
hook it
so many
up.
good sound effects too.
Whenever we get a drop board, this podcast is gonna just be elevated to a new
Dude,
level.
I think I'm motivated now.
It's so fun, dude.
the Stream Deck is that mid-season trade you make when like it's just like the glue guy that you need to just complete your lineup. Like
Dude, I think that's
Yep.
it.
Shevka.
Dude, you should. It's really, and it's gonna sound like an ad, but I promise they don't fucking pay me. If they did, I'd be very proud of it, and you would all know I'd be obnoxious about it. But they don't. It's very easy to use. It's cool to make like your own custom icons. I have a thing. I could tell you way more about it, but I literally spent a couple hours learning how to use it, and I've gotten so much mileage out of it. Like it's just so easy to use, and it's so great.
Dude, I mean, I've seen it in action, and I know
Yeah.
what it's capable of. Yeah, I could just
It's probably
imagine that horn.
Professional uses of it, yeah, but there's like silly uses, obviously, where I think you kind of get the most bang
Yeah,
for your buck.
that's kind of what I want it for. Professional enough, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're business in the front party all the time. You know how it'd be. But yeah, so we can quickly run through the rest of this top 8. Couple of the Jersey boys coming through. Leon is the one that did the best, and you know, he definitely held his own. Like Leon has kind of been on a little bit of, for his standards, I'd say a cold streak. But finishing out at 4th place. But kind of the big story for me is the Cosmos Revenge Tour.
Yeah.
He destroyed the two people that clipped him the hardest this past year in James and Leon, and he didn't just like beat them. He made
Yeah.
them feel it looked bad.
Yep.
Like
He's back, baby. And he ran out of Game & Watch basically, like, which he wasn't like. Yeah, you could prepare and like study your old VODs and learn, dude. And he learned so that matchup against Leon, he played amazing, dude. Because Leon destroyed, like Leon kind of embarrassed the shit out of him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he felt embarrassed, but I was like, damn, that was like hard to watch if you're a Cosmos fan.
Yeah.
it definitely makes you feel bad.
Yeah,
And
he
the
got
same thing
his
with-
revenge, redemption
and the
arc.
same- And the same thing can be said about like when he fought James too, because James at one point got
Yeah.
beat so bad with Crown, he had to go Diddy Kong, and regardless, Cosmos came out the gates,
Yeah.
guns a blazing, and he's had like a really really good 2 weeks so far. Like he got what was it 3rd place at the the Thunder Smash tournament.
Oh yes,
last week.
Which invitationals? It's interesting. Yeah, I'll wait till we jump to invitationals, but yeah, he did.
Okay, yeah. So like he's definitely on like a hot streak right now. And Salem obviously getting 3rd place here.
Yeah.
From what I understood, I think he signed up for the tournament like last second. So,
Oh really?
Yeah, he like wasn't gonna come and then he did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, before we move on too far from Leon, but he's another one of those guys, just like Meister, who really showed us the power of potential like low high tier character. You know what I'm saying? Like putting Bowser essentially, on the map and making people aware, and forcing someone like Cosmos to learn that matchup and to play in a certain way, which enhances the meta overall, which enhances Cosmos as a player. Everything is like falling into place, man. It's so cool how all that shit works out, man. That's all.
Yeah, the trickle down economics of Smash Brothers.
of Bowser in the meta, yeah, exactly. But Leon definitely taught Cosmos a lesson or two. I remember that was at Smash and Splash, and I remember
Yes.
afterwards, everyone, there was a huge friendly setup room, and in there it was just Cosmos and Leon, and they played for 45 minutes straight, just like an hour, like just back and forth. Sometimes Leon would wreck him, sometimes Cosmos would make it close, but like Leon still won most of them, but Cosmos just grinded. So I really, really appreciated that about Cosmos, and it's really nice to see it pay off, even though I am a huge Leon fan as well. Like there was, I was gonna be upset and happy one way or the other with that one.
Yeah, I was stoked to see him do well, and like it's upsetting to me that James and Jackal kind of didn't do as well as I'm sure they would have liked. James losing to Louis Money and
Yeah.
Jackal losing to Best Nest in losers for 13th, I believe. So
Yeah, Jackal's a beast, man. He'll
I,
he'll have another breakout performance, I assume, before not too long.
yeah, I think Jackal got 9th. So did
oh, did he?
James.
Nice.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought he got 13th. That's
yeah.
my fault.
Him and James fell at the same point. Small bone to
Wait.
pick with 2GG strides, saying that James has been eliminated by Louis Money before, and how he was surprised James made it this far. And I was like, do you know who James is? How do
I
you
mean,
not know?
We always offend people, dude. Like, there's nothing meant by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just, I don't know. I got in trouble one time too, but I was like, I'm not talking shit about this guy. Like, I'm just
I'm
saying.
just saying you wouldn't be surprised if an 18th ranked player on the PGR made it to 9th place at a 2GG tournament. Is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that part's the
That was more so the like, come on.
But Louis has
Well,
beaten
he's
James in one season, so that's not like out of the. That's not
No,
incorrect.
dude, Louis Money's amazing.
yes,
I got
he
no problem with
is.
that. Louis Money is really freaking good.
And Maester, I'm happy he made it to Summit and all that. There were so many good people pulling for that last slot too. He looked unstoppable. He honestly looked a lot like he did at it was the tournament he lost to Zachary. That
Big
was Big House.
House.
I was like, he
Yep,
looked unstoppable on that day too, but Zachary just like figured it out, man. It's crazy.
just a little bit more unstoppable that day.
Yeah, just no one could step up to stop him. Like it would have been Cosmos basically, or maybe Salem. Like I don't know, it could have happened, but I don't know,
Yeah,
dude.
So we're getting.
yeah, but that
I was just gonna say we're getting familiar with all these big names now, and then therein comes the relevance of invitationals, which is kind of like the main thing that I was looking forward to talking to you today because I feel like this dictates where we go, where we have
Mhm.
smaller events where we're focused on, we're talking about, Meister as a character specialist, Leon as a character specialist. So now that we know who the players are of the characters and their specialists, we can invite them everywhere. So good thing or bad thing?
yeah. I guess it kind of depends on the context. So like the reason I wanted to talk about this was for a couple of reasons because on the small scale, Has is currently from a region that is in the midst of getting ready for a big invitational, which has been met with like interesting feedback to say the least.
Yeah.
And then we're also on the heels of the Thunder Smash Invitational, which happened last week, and Thunder having its third iteration of one of these tournaments, and like what's worked and what hasn't worked in regards to like a big scale invitational tournament is still like there's definitely still trying to iron out the kinks. But from all that I was able to see, like the tournament was fine. I think there just needs to be like I don't know, there needs to be like the right combination of like okay, like is the prize pool worth it, and like I think the problem with certain invitationals is that like they'll advertise themselves as an invitational or like they'll advertise themselves as like it was weird. Like I think in the context of the New England Invitational, like I believe how many people are
Oh
going to
boy.
this as?
I don't know if the number is confirmed, honestly. So and I was filling you guys in a little bit beforehand. So we have I don't know if you have that graphic handy,
Yep,
Chris.
got it open right
Cool.
now.
Let me
Yeah, it's
see. Okay, cool.
Mars, Light, Rafi, DM, Lade, Matty G, Ling Ling, and Bobby Wasabi.
Gotcha. Yep, exactly. So definitely some of the best talent that New England has. It's gonna be super dope. So it got a little hairy and dicey. Like there's two spots there open for Arcadian winners. So the Arcadian winners and runner up also got an invite, which is super cool. And then the vote-ins is where it got a little bit dicey for us because there were some, claims or some dramatics going on with who was invited and how and why and how how everything's going to work out for New England. So eventually, the compromise that was reached is so that every state in New England felt represented or felt like they had a fair shot here at the Invitational. Was that the top 5 of each state from New England will be invited to play and partake, which is great because inclusion is a good thing. So that's going to be dope, and I'll be there, and I'm going to be casting, and I'm excited to meet new people from who are top ranked state talent from states that I haven't really either been to or they haven't been to Boston events or other events otherwise. So I think it's going to be a cool event. I think it's going to put on some great and unique talent from all around New England. So I think it's going to be cool, but it's been a little bit of a rocky and bumpy road. Definitely showed the ugly side of New England at certain points. So yeah, we don't need to dive into any specifics there, but basically it's on, it's happening. It should be really cool, and I'm looking forward to it very much.
So
Yeah.
you're saying there,
You go, Chris.
just about the New England thing. So I think the
Right.
controversy was met, I believe you're saying, mostly because it was a majority of Massachusetts players, but it's supposed
Right.
to be a New England tournament. Was
Yeah, that was like the chant kind of going on. Is like, so if you look at the invited players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 out of the, is it 2, 4? So yeah, 6 out of 8 are Massachusetts-based players. So people are like, oh, you're calling it a New England Invitational, but there's 6 out of 8 Massachusetts players going, so it doesn't seem very, and then the voting bounced the way of Massachusetts too, because we have a very strong voting presence, because we have a strong dedicated scene. So it's just, I don't know, it kind of worked out like the ball bounced kind of a bad way for the invitational in general. So it was just rough, man. But it seems like a compromise has been reached that a lot of people are happy with, and that's what we're going to be rolling with. So that's cool.
so that I mean that's good. Um, I,
Yeah.
I do think there is plenty of merit in invitationals. I think the real question comes in with the stuff with the rankings, but that we don't have to talk about that right now.
Mhm.
So the way most invitationals are put together, this one you just kind of explained. We're expecting one in Tri-State in, I think it's the same weekend as this one, isn't it?
Oh
Possibly.
wow.
As I'm looking at it, I think it is November. Yeah, I think it's the same weekend, November 8th through the 10th.
Oh, the 2GG thing's an invitational?
Well, technically, the Tri-State Invitational. Yeah, that's what
It's
it's.
2GG.
Yeah, yes,
Mm.
it is.
Sandy's a girl?
I'll see you on the side stream. But anyways, it yeah, it's in Helix, which is where the forge is and stuff. But I think it's technically an invitational. It's called Tri-State Smashdown.
Showdown.
Showdown. Whoops. Smashdown's a different event. And then yeah, as you mentioned, there's the Thunder Smash ones, which are now being themed. That last one was like Clash of Pandas, probably because there's a lot of Panda Global players in there. So yeah, I don't know. The structure of how invitationals come to be is very different from one to the next. And I think that's where it starts to get a little tricky, because at the end of the day, the Invitational, it seems like the goal is now that everything counts towards PGR, the global rankings, that it's like, okay, let's just invite every great player we could think of to get this to be as high a ranking event as possible. And that's sort of the one common goal that everyone has, but there isn't really like a structure as to how to do it or how to invite people or who should be invited kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, and it's tough, and I feel like with similar to the New England one, and this is what I kept saying too, is it's a lot of growing pain. It's a lot of figure out, what is the theme of the event, what is the goal of the event, how are we inviting people, how do we ensure to do better next time, is what I keep thinking. Is it's been a tough one to organize. I mean, I'm not an organizer or anything, but it's just what I've heard, and I mean, it just looks painful, just based on the feedback on Twitter. But it's always a growing and learning experience, and for us, it's the first one we're putting on. So if people are feeling some sort of way about how the invitations went, we're making an adjustment this year, and then next year I feel like we can do even more, do better out of the gate. So it's more focused on how cool the event's going to be, because it is going to be a super dope event, and less focused on how exactly the voting or the nominations or whatever broke down.
So what do
Yeah.
you? I think that, sorry, not to cut you off, Kuba, but like the
Go
goal.
for it.
So as you mentioned, like the goals of the events, right? And it does make you wonder. It's like, what is the grand goal? And I think, in my mind, anyways, as someone who produces content for this kind of thing, I think the goal is to mostly bring excitement and sort of like attention per scene. And the sure way to do that is to get like big player A and big player B and top player C kind of deal, and I think that's what most people are hoping for. But the tricky part is if you're doing a regional invitational, you're gonna get the guys that you see most of the time, anyways. But I guess they're
Right.
just in larger quantity, technically,
Hmm.
or more
Yeah.
concentrated quantity might be the better way to say it. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. No,
I
makes
didn't
sense.
really
Yeah.
have like a direct
Yeah.
take for that, but
That was.
I
That was
think
cool.
when it comes to like invitational, I think my problem comes like it's more of a personal problem on my end. Like I don't like the pageantry of invitationals, because like people around here eating bugs and like streaming Smash 4 and shit just to like get some pat. It gets just like the whole voting process in general just kind of skeeves me out because like it kind of brings out the worst in people. Like has brought that up on a small scale, and like we've seen that on a big scale, like with the stuff like Summit and the Panda stuff. Because like I think also my problem also stems down to like at what point does a tournament stop being an invitational and just becomes a very like poorly advertised event that has like a X amount of people.
That's
like,
a really good point.
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
That,
like
yeah.
because like Thunder Smash 3 was like advertised as this big thing. Like the gimmick was that for every 100 people that signed up, they would fund an international player to come out, and they had like
Exactly
a
100
lot
people.
of like yeah, like they had like a lot of the like your staple names like T and Leia and these other Japanese players that could travel, and then like young Eevee and Ben Gold, like a bunch of players that like you don't recognize stateside, but like if you watch international streams, you've obviously heard of them.
Right.
And like it kind of just dropped the ball. Like I don't really know like what happened where. Like I don't know if I obviously Thunder has had its rocky start so far, but I think their heart's in the right place with the events that they do. And in the end, the end product is always a lot of fun. But like I feel like at what point does a tournament like go from an invitational to it's like, oh, there's like it's very top heavy in regards to top players, and there's like 30 other people in there. So like that's it's just weird.
Yeah, and honestly, again, I'm gonna relate that back to the New England one, which is some of the original invitees are like this went from an invitational to pretty much an open house tournament, and that's that's not the feel I was looking for, or not a tournament, or not an event I'm really interested in. So it kind of, and then that turned into more like, wow, you're trying to exclude people from New England. You don't want to go if X, Y, and Z state is going, and it's like, no, that's not what they meant. They just don't. Oh man, you could see how it just brought out like you could interpret things like in the worst way possible, and it read as the worst way possible if you really wanted to, and it was pretty crazy to watch it kind of spiral a little bit.
That's like that, yeah, because I feel like invitationals are the type of thing where, and we've seen this in practice before. Actually, shout outs to Max for organizing Players Ball, where it was literally just 16 people, best of the best there. And the idea was to see every potential set in that tournament. I think pretty much every set was streamed or nearly. And that's the whole point, right? You want the good content. You want to see the top players of each character going at it. You want to see the top ranks. And that's sort of like, that has its own type of thing where you're like, yeah, it's good to count towards ranking, but it's not a big tournament. But in itself, it's a unique thing, right? Like you're getting all these people invited in one room, and you're getting all of that matchup data like recorded. Versus like, okay, we got a few big names. This will bring people watching. More than a few big ones, and then we'll just open up to everyone. And it does. It gets very confusing, and it does just feel like almost like more of a marketing move. It really is. I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Especially with like Thunder 3 and no shade, man. I'm not trying to like be a hater. But it's just like the tournament's called Clash of Pandas. It's very clear they're teamed up with Panda Global, who controls the rankings, and now they're theming an event after it. It's just like, okay, so like, what is this? What are we actually doing here? What is this tournament? Why can't it just be a tournament like other tournaments? Why is it?
They kind of did like it. So I feel like initially they like they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to do and where they want to be in the scene. So, and I feel like they felt like that didn't come off correctly for them the first couple tournaments. So this one they were like, let's do fucking everything. Like let's do everything. Let's do skits. Let's do bracket. Let's do all this other like side events. Let's do all this stuff. And I feel like that's kind of why you're feeling that way. Like what was the theme here? You know what I'm saying? Like how where did that come from, or like why? Yeah, I feel like it was just them trying to do a little too much, which is like understandable.
So,
but I think they'll hit the sweet spot soon. Kind of how I feel.
They're working towards it, and it
Yeah.
seems like they're making the right moves. So I think you're probably right in that. But in the meanwhile, it was a mishmash, and it doesn't matter if it's mishmash. It's going to get the attention, and it's got a lot of eyes on it. Because didn't that tournament have like $10,000 attached to it anyways, or something?
Yeah.
Something crazy.
A couple times.
That's the one thing that like Thunder's done like very well, is that like in a world where like the hot topic of Big House was like the pay scale for Smash being like kind of ludicrous. Like Thunder's out here like slinging money and like giving the buzz like exactly like 100 like stacks of $100, like paying them in cold hard cash.
That legendary banner of MVD, man, the big winner of the huge cash prize, man. Like it's crazy. And we brought them up on the podcast before, and I said like they definitely are providing something very unique that the scene has wanted and asked for very badly. I know that like their initial impression wasn't amazing, but I still feel like they're worth looking into and worth giving it
So
a fair chance. And
as far
yeah.
as like resources go, and this is the part that makes me sort of wince a little bit because resources are pretty slim across the board in a lot of Smash.
Mhm.
Pretty much anyone trying to do anything, whether it be host a tournament or stream a tournament, both, whatever. Like cash just isn't really there. So then I see something like $10,000 go to a prize pool, and I'm like, okay, so we're gonna invite the top people that are already kind of making the money, and then we're gonna put $10,000 in the prize pool. Taz, I feel like you tweeted about this. You're like, we're just gonna give the top 1% of the people who play Smash more money, who are already
Oh
sort of making it
yeah,
sustainable, which is cool. But then it's just like, well, but then it's end transaction. Like it's
was
literally end
was
transaction once it
that
hits the players.
that's when people were tweeting that people should pay more, right? That's what
Yes,
that
that
was in
was
response
exactly
to.
it.
It was a Smash Twitter's enters the realm of politics. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you want to charge everyone else so that we can pay the 1%, the only people who are making money, you want to give them more
It's
money?
true though. So now you see
I
business
know.
doing it as an investment strategy, and that to me says like this isn't sustainable because you're not developing anything. You're basically just throwing money at the people who are best for some fleeting attention really quick, and then it's just like, well, the rest of the scene still
Yeah.
doesn't have money to like produce something bigger.
It's to me, and it kind of feels like this, and I still like, don't get me wrong, I think it's salvageable and I think it's a good, I still believe in, Thunder Gaming. I still think they're good, but it's kind of backwards where as a TO, usually your grind is you have no money and you grind locals and you stick around for like a year or two and then you earn the trust of the scene and then they have your back when shit happens, or if they want to stream something, everyone says, oh yeah, he's great, like hire this guy or this girl to run this tournament or to bring yeah, to pretty much handle everything. So it's like the opposite where like they kind of started at the top end where usually, and I think that's why people were skeptical, is like they kind of just jumped right into the water. There was like no warm up period, there was no like anything, like it just started happening very very quickly. Oh, and they had the polls too. That was, oh man, they just like and
Those
I do
polls.
like, truly I think they're like trying to do something good, and I think they just want to be a part of the scene, and I think they think we're a scene worth investing in, which all three of us would obviously agree on that. And I think it's just somewhere in the like, first off, I think the Smash scene has got to fucking relax with them a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I feel like there's a give and take here. I feel like Thunder, they're trying, and do I feel like the Smash scene is seeing that in return? Not fucking really. Like I feel like there should be a little more give and take here instead of just Thunder giving, and like it needs to be met somewhere, man. I feel like there's just so much resistance, and I don't understand it. Again, it
So
confuses me with the Smash scene because we beg for something just like this, and then we get it, and it's not, yeah, it's not perfect yet,
I
but
think
like the thing that happens is we kind of we're jerks to them, and now like they're like, why would they want to keep working with us if we're jerks to them?
I feel like that you're poking at something like a much bigger problem that goes beyond Thunder, beyond anyone else. Because I feel like, and I could tell you this firsthand, because you're saying, okay, you start on the top end with money, you get the attention, yada yada yada, and then it's cool. It's like you have 10,000 viewers, but you know what? I would kill for 10,000 viewers on MHG. Meanwhile, I've been grinding for 3 years, put on good events, good streams, and then I'm like, okay, so I could just pay to play and I have 10,000. Meanwhile, if you're them, you're just like, okay, this isn't a good investment. I only have 10,000 viewers. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, what is your goal? Like, is it just to get the viewers, or like, are you actually developing something? So like that's where I think it gets a little muddy and confusing, at least from my personal opinion.
I think that's a good point. I think goals should be open and honest, and what are they, exactly trying to do? I think they just see a good opportunity with us, honestly, and realize that they have something that we need, so figured that they could make it work out. So I think honestly, like if we talk a year from now and they're just completely gone, that's like 20 people who just are no longer sponsored. Like that's tournaments that aren't happening, tournaments that included international talent, and like we're gonna look back and be like, what the fuck were we doing? Or
And
I don't know,
that's
man.
that's why
I
the
think
money is like arbitrary. It's almost a waste. You're just kind of throwing it there, and it gets kind of blended with everybody else's pop bonus or big tournaments, and there's nothing really being developed. And that's really my main thing. It's just like, I think it's great you want to give to a scene, or you want to develop it, but then do that. You got to develop it, not just like it's like having your parents are divorced and your dad lives in another state and he just sends you envelopes of money. Like, and you just you
Dope.
spend it on like
Sick.
whatever.
Sounds awesome.
Anyways,
Hey man, my parents got divorced. I didn't get that, so I'm saying it could be worse.
yo, that's perspective for sure.
Yeah.
I
I,
understand what you're saying, man. Yeah.
yeah. I've drawn this parallel in the podcast before, but like we could look back on this like has said like now, you know, what's it called? Thunder Smash could be like this thing that like come and went, or like it could be like a reverse of the MVG situation, where like MVG had like ran a couple of tournaments, had some like pretty mediocre press at the end of it, and then they kind of like went away for a while, and it took them a while to get back in everybody's good graces, but then they kind of changed their approach a bit. And I agree with like I think Thunder's just trying to do a little bit too much at once. Like I think the prize pools are huge because obviously like big tournaments like that are are good for people's pockets obviously and for viewership. But I remember there was a quote I saw from Daigo like forever ago on Twitter where he said that there needs to be more invitationals and stuff like that for like the best talent against the best talent because like you very rarely like get to see that nowadays.
Yep.
Like obviously like when I read this that was obviously not the
Ooh.
case. So
Oh fuck! You just gave me such a good idea for a theme. They should do like a never before seen matchup before, because there have to be players who haven't played in a bracket format before. There has to be like,
Oh yeah.
has Cosmos ever played against like I don't fucking know. I don't want to say one because I'll be wrong, just like based off of luck. But like just matchups we've never seen, or like for the first time ever. Like that would be such a cool idea for an event.
yeah,
Like,
James was someone that brought
well,
that up near the end of Smash 4 because like James would complain about how he'd have to play like Salem and DeBuzz at every major. And he's like, I wanted to play Void, I want to play Mr. R. Like he wants to
Mhm.
play all these other. There's
This
just
is
there's a plethora of other characters that like you just haven't like
Thunder
seen.
Gaming, baby. Thunder
Yeah.
Gaming, baby. That's that right there is an amazing theme for a tournament. Just
Grudge
matchups we
match.
haven't seen. Yeah, exactly.
well that
What's it called? Like when the title fight, or like what's the boxing one? Like the featured bout or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, the card fight.
Yeah,
battle.
exactly. A card. That's what
The
they
title
should
card.
have,
So
bro. A fucking card would be so cool, dude. Like UFC. That would be so dope.
So I actually think that would be a great idea, and that kind of was one of the original points we're talking about. Like, if you're having an invitational, what's your goal? It should be to get the unique matches. You should want the title fights that people want to see, right? Like that's why you throw an invitational. The money is the incentive to go there, but like otherwise, it's not just paying for attention. Because I think right now, that's where the invitationals go. We're just like, well, we need more attention on the scene. We need to grow this business. We're investing a lot of money in here. We need more people in the venue. And I think that's a lot of the motivation right now. And that's very real stuff. Like if you have
Yeah.
like that is very real stuff. Like if you have a huge venue and you need attention, you want the people there. So it's easy to default to
Dude.
that, but
Even zoomed out a little bit more, like kind of thinking about how people want more Nintendo involvement, it just makes me think of one of my favorite developers is in a lot of hot water recently, Blizzard. I don't know if you guys follow the news at all,
oh
but
yeah,
Yeah, we
boy.
talked about that a couple weeks ago.
oh, did you? Okay, was I on that one? I think
Nah,
I was.
AJ was there.
I
but
kind
he's
of wish
also-
you were. Yeah, we had the whole
Bro, I
ban
have so
Blizzard
many
thing.
I have so many thoughts and feelings about it. But anyway, it's kind of just like a quick, summary is
Yeah.
it's nice that we're not attached necessarily. Like if they, I really feel for like Hearthstone streamers right now, or people who feel like they can't play their game, otherwise they're making some sort of political statement. When it's like, man, that's just how they, made their living forever. So it's just like it's kind of nice at the same time to not be bound or locked in with a developer because they supply you with everything and they're the lifeblood of your scene. It's nice that we're kind of our own self-sufficient unit, and in a way, like obviously, we can use a lot of help in a lot of different ways, but it's just an interesting perspective because we're always like, let's get developer support, we need Nintendo to support us more, but then you kind of see the downside of what developer support can mean. Or if your developer's doing something you don't agree with, you're kind of stuck with that, or have to deal with that, or figure out something new. So it's just I don't know how much you guys went into there, so we could stop, but yeah.
That was a topic I brought up. I was like, this isn't like on a big scale. This is a pretty big, like the whole Blizzard and everything going on with that is like has so much with like the future of how esports is going to go, because they are the esport company. They're basically
They're
the original.
huge.
Like
They're up there, yeah.
They set the precedent, right? So now if you're seeing esports come out in a structure where it's just like you're restricting free speech or things are happening just because you don't want to say one thing because then you don't get money anymore, that pretty much tells us where the rest of like esports is going to go, and that is concerning.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's also happening on like the bigger scale too. Of like this has been happening with the NBA for weeks now, where I read a report that the Chinese government actually wanted the Adam Silver, like the commissioner of the NBA, to fire Daryl Morey because of the tweets that he made.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like so, it's like big. The thought of Big Brother watching is truly scary.
It's a lot, man. I really learned the power of like the Chinese market and government is it's huge, man. That's like not like really news, but I was just like, whoa! It just kind of made me take a step back and how powerful
it's
and
very,
how much they do.
It's very eye-opening. Like, and I default to these memes because they are funny, but like it's kind of scary too. Like LeBron James is a big deal. He's an American athlete. And then, you have China basically. It's nuts. And you can't blame him because he likes money. Like so you got to like watch what you say.
And not even just like
livelihood.
Not only is he like the top athlete of his game, like LeBron James is like one of the best pressed athletes of like the 21st century.
Yeah.
Like, you'll never find a bad press article about LeBron James because like just like his off the court life and his like his philanthropical efforts.
He literally built a school for kids, dude. Like that's fat, and they all got a bike. Like every kid that goes to the school has a bike.
Damn.
That's
like,
that's dope.
He's awesome. Doesn't mean he can't have a bad opinion or two, but yeah, he's dope.
Yeah. The problem is like esports is very much being structured off of real sports, and I feel like the way real sports runs right now is a disaster as we can see from all of this, and we're already seeing the how that scales up even just from Blizzard in China and the NBA in China. Like it's very 1-to-1 at the moment. So.
Yeah, that's something. Shout out to my fantasy team though. 4-game winning streak.
Pulling through this week. Heck yeah. But so we're talking about seeing unique matches and invitationals, and then we have a very big one, probably the biggest invitational there is in Ultimate Summit 2, which is a tournament like just in the voting phase raised over $100,000. Speaking of big money.
Yeah, it took approximately $62. The merch, man. We talked about this when we initially talked. Oh my god, merch is dope.
Mars and Light got in on their own merit. Thank you guys. I spent $0 in the Summit store. It ruled.
So okay,
Thank you so much.
Best of best talents. Now this invitational is done, right? So there's 16 people in there.
It is complete. Yes.
There was a last qualifier. Yep.
I got the list right here. You ready?
I'm ready.
MK Leo, Tweak, Nairo, Mars, Light, T, Mute Ace, Void, Leffen, Armada, Samsora, Esam, Arfang, Zachary, DeBuzz, and Meister.
So what do we think? Do we think this is kind of worked out in a way where there was a lot of qualifiers at very large tournaments, and so theoretically you have the best of the best, and you look at the list. I would say so. I mean, all these guys are top 10, top 20, except for a couple, which. The case of Arfang, for example, or even Armada is the case who comes from a totally different game.
The cool thing about Arfang is that he showed up recently at a couple tournaments and had good results. So he just proved it instantly that he's not just there as a joker or whatever. So that was dope.
Yeah,
dope
I was just gonna say that usually you see that the post summit buff, where somebody that goes to a summit will perform well immediately or soon after, at their next tournament. But Arfang proved it almost immediately. So if the low hanging fruit is a guy that just got top 8 in an S tier, then my god, and even Armada and Leffen, who can be kind of looked at as the little meme picks of Summit, but Armada just got tops. We got what 17th at main stage or something like that.
Big, wasn't it Big House and main stage? I think he did well both.
He's definitely proven himself, and Leffen obviously has as well. Plus, I like that they bring in the melee crowd because I like melee, so I like the cross contamination. So I like when the games mingle a little bit. I think that's good. So yeah, it's dope. It's dope. And obviously Leffen has a huge following, and so does Armada. So it was very possible for them to get in. And they're international talent. So all around, thumbs up from me. Except Armada plays Inkling, so don't like that. Don't care for that. But he plays a sick Inkling, so whatever. Hey, bro. Hey.
So this kind of hits on everything we were talking about as far as successful invitationals go, right? I mean, you have a limited number. You have some of the best in the industry. And then you're seeing what will be some unique competition because you do have a mix of the absolute best top of the rankings in addition to some unique names, as we already mentioned, Left and Armada coming from Melee. So you haven't seen these guys play a lot of these top talents. And then you even have like a Mute Ace who's like, is he top 20 on the PGR or is he top
He's top
30?
25.
Is he 25th? I thought he's
I-
around there somewhere.
Yeah, he's like 25th. I think he's like 22nd or something like that.
Which
he's in
is-
the top 25.
Which
so,
is on the low end of rankings for this particular list of players, which isn't even bad, obviously. So, I don't know. What do you guys think of this in general? I mean, I think summits are usually pretty great to watch. So
Yeah, it's freaking great, man. I like this list a lot. Like I said, my favorite part is Light Mars got in without me having to spend a dime, so that's my favorite part in this whole thing. And yeah, so I'm gonna sit back and enjoy this summit for sure. I think the casting talent too. Big fan of who they chose for this event. What was I gonna say?
yeah, man. Like I'm super stoked for a dude like Vero that like doesn't get to like come to America that often. So like I'm excited to see like him do that, and obviously guys like Coney and D1 and the Black Plague, etc. Like it's gonna
Kitaro
be
too. He's a great choice for a summit format, man. He's
Agreed.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be dope, and like I'm also excited to see. We brought it up earlier, like off stream, I believe, but like I'm super excited to see Tweak at Summit because like obviously he didn't campaign that hard for the last one, but
Right.
like I'm just like people that don't know Tweak are like in for a fucking surprise because like he is a
Yeah.
savage beast of a man. Like
I know. I
like,
think it'll take him a day or two, but once he starts opening up, it's gonna be
Yeah.
hilarious, and everyone's gonna think it's super funny. Because I agree, man. I've heard this kid at tournaments talk that smack, dude. It is so funny.
yeah, like he's asked like, and I quote, what was that thing? Were you there when he asked people at Glitch if you would have sex with Kazooie?
No, I was.
Okay. Straight face,
Put that
like
on
no,
me.
like no cap, like he just did it, and I'm just like, what the fuck's the matter with
this
me?
is why he and James get along so well, man. They're just a
Yeah.
couple shitters.
I would like love to see James like I just want to see James make Summit content with the videos he's been making, like
James
Yeah.
is
Like,
hilarious, bro.
next
I mean,
time
we're all
around.
We're all James fans here, so
Yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah.
We're all
I
drinking
love
the same water.
I love I love James like I love waking up in the morning. I have to do it.
You don't?
No, I don't, but I do. Like,
So
he just got Chris shot.
yeah, that was a good video.
That was pretty
But
good.
I like that there's some international presence here. Like you got Meister, Leo, T,
Zachary.
I say Zachary, Armada.
Armada
very-
Leffen.
Yeah, very
Leffen?
good sprinkling of international talent.
Wow,
so.
yeah, I actually didn't realize that till I really started reading them off. That's a
Forget-
lot. That's like
forget
almost
about-
half.
I forgot DeBuzz made it back in, honestly, but I'm not surprised.
Dude, you think DeBuzz would miss this? No way, man. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it, but he made it happen.
Yeah,
so
he's ridiculously good.
I still had no idea the top two made it in a big house. That
So-
was a shocker to me.
remind me,
Oh, yeah.
what were the qualifying tournaments? Because I know Nightmare and Smashville was one, which seems weird because it didn't even get a PGR graphic.
It didn't?
I didn't see it. I was just looking. I was literally just looking for it. I could not find it. The last one they had was Big House.
All
I
right.
think it was like a high B tier or something, or a mid B tier.
Here, look,
I
I'll
believe the
look again.
qualifiers. So there was the invitee process, and then it was the top 6 placing players at main stage who were not invited. There would have had to been a tiebreaker between Mute Ace and Salem for the last spot, but Salem opted to just give it to Mute Ace, I believe. So
Yeah. No, you're correct. Yeah.
So that happened, and then it was the top 2 qualifiers that weren't invitees at Big House, which is why I felt really good for Meister after he won at Nightmare at Smashville, because like we said it on the podcast, like if Meister pops off, like he's gonna make it in the summit, and he did pop off, except he fell a set short of doing that.
Yeah.
Because Zachary and the Buzz just like woke the fuck up, and then Nightmare at Smashville was the last one. So.
Yeah, so like a pretty decent range of like events there, I guess. I think it was like main stage was interesting because a lot of people got in there. It was just kind of like a mass, like okay, yeah, all these people come in, and then everything else is sort of like.
I kind of
spread
like
out.
that, to be honest with you.
Like one big qualifier followed by like some mini ones and then some voting.
Yeah, I think we talked about this during the last summit, but like, I think we had like a good like 3 weeks, like a month worth of content just out of the voting phase because it just took so long, and like the voting phase seems like it just kind of came and went because I think there's so many auto qualifiers. So, which I'm personally a fan of. Like the pageanting just like leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it
Like,
eliminates a lot of what you were saying earlier about that.
yeah, so and I'm excited. I'm excited for the side events. I'm excited for the skits.
Wait, sorry, what was your take there? Is that you don't like the qualifiers, or you do?
No, I don't. I don't like the pageanting, like the voting process.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
The campaigning is what's kind of bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was reading something. So
Yeah.
no, okay, cool. Yeah, I agree because I think there are some people who are amazing players but wouldn't be able to win necessarily with the voting process or the buying of votes process and all that
They
stuff.
wouldn't win the popular vote, but they win the electoral college.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, so they can come through and win that way. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like that and it's cool because it gets more events involved in the whole process. So you have a prize that's available that's not just cash or not just X, Y, or Z. Like everyone wants a summit spot, dude. That's arguably more valuable than cash. Depending on obviously how much cash and what your circumstances are. But like it gets events involved in a very special and unique way. It got Meister to travel to like 8 different tournaments, so that was pretty cool. Like he clearly wanted it really bad and grinded it out. So
yeah, it's true. He definitely willed that one out. You could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, I'm excited for the skits. I think they have a good group of people there. Like Meister low key, really funny dude. Like I just think back to at SmashCon when he SD'd twice against Mars, and he just like longingly looks into the player cam like he's on The Office. Like I just find that like just like the little like physical cues that these players have are like super funny. Like I think they got a good mix of people here this time around, and the content's going to be plentiful. The matches are going to be the hype part. So I guess we might as well ask the question: who do you guys got winning the whole thing?
Oh God.
Esam.
No way.
No.
No way.
It's the first person I remembered.
You get right the heck out.
I was actually just listening to his. He did a recent tier list video, so that's actually why I thought of him recently. I
Go
actually
watch his YouTube content, by the way.
I do like his YouTube content. I actually do like his opinion on the tier list. It's pretty solid. Except he got lazy on Ken's part, and that made me mad. But that aside, whatever. Because he was like, "Oh, just copy and paste what I said for Ryu, and he's just better." I was like, "Dude." He literally said copy and paste what I said for Ryu. I was like, "No." But anyway, yeah. I mean, Leo, obviously. The crazy thing is that kind of like what we saw with Meister and what we saw with Zachary, where they got like this huge kind of try hard attitude because they really wanted to go to Summit. It's gonna happen even harder at Summit, where people really want to win it because everyone's eyes are on you. Not only like and the prize, the pop bonus is ridiculous. Like the pop for that tournament is crazy. So everyone's gonna be trying super hard.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up because the one thing that I was going to point out is that there's a lot of people riding like hot tournament streaks like going into Summit.
Yeah.
Like obviously Nairo's been performing very well as of late. Zachary and Meister both won tournaments to get into the event. And obviously the Buzz has been, attending a lot of stuff on the local side, I guess to kind of just like freshen up his muscle memory. But then I also look at guys that like Tweak and Mars, who like their stock's a little bit down right now. They're not placing as high as I'm sure they would have liked. And Leo, he's I think a prime candidate of somebody who's like kind of on a bit of a lull because like outside of main stage, he hasn't really attended like any of the big tournaments where like the big boys are at. Like he attended that one tournament in Europe the same weekend as Big House, and like not to throw shade at the European scene, but like I feel like he's not going to get tested in the same way he would like on the States side. You know what I mean? So like I feel like it could be a trap tournament. Like you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. But would I be surprised if Leo won? Surprised if I think the only person that would surprise me if they won like I don't know Kitaro or somebody. I don't know.
I'm gonna say either the Melee boys if they won, it would be massively surprising. I think the world would just implode.
I think one of them will go off. I think Armada. When I played against him at the last summit, I think he learned so fast. I think I've said this before on this podcast, so I'll keep it short. But he learned every time we played. He learned so fast, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see him exceed expectations. Is one of my predictions for summit winner. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say Leo. I think it's tough, man. I don't know. There's a lot of good competition going to summit, obviously.
I'm just
I'm
gonna
excited for the talent show, honestly.
Oh God.
I was just gonna give
Yeah.
my biased opinion and say I think Tweak's gonna win, but
Fair enough.
that's
Good
me
opinion.
that's me fanboying.
That's something we can all get on board with.
Yeah, I'm about it. Like it's gonna be fun, and hopefully at the end of the weekend, everybody learn to fight Mr. Game and watch.
Although
That is true.
this might be a bit of a hard transition. I don't know if you guys have much more to say about Summit, but I was gonna say Nairo is technically ranked over Tweak, according to state PRs, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess we can kind of end the podcast with this. Everybody's power rankings came out at the one time, so we can kind of just like collectively look at that. So yeah, good luck at Summit, everybody. Go Nairo. That's my 2 cents. Yeah. So if you guys didn't watch our big PR extravaganza show, you can A, watch the VOD, and B, if you want the abridged version, we will be discussing it here. Big stories is that Nairo ranked over Tweak this season. A bit of a contentious spot, and we have like I think 4 newcomers this year.
Yeah, I'm getting the
Technical
graphic
newcomers.
up now. Give me one moment. Yeah, there's so that's what I find the most interesting. And I mean, keep in mind we're talking just about New Jersey for a moment, but there's New Jersey's become a bit of an outlier when it comes to like ranked globally ranked players. There's how many New Jersey players on the PGR right now? Is there
I think
7, 6?
Nairo, I guess Tweak, Rivers, Wishes, Gons technically still.
But well, so that's the funny thing is Gon's a PGR. Oh, right. That's what we're talking about. PGR player. He's not on the power ranks this time, but he is PGR still.
Yeah, that's also the hot point of contention too. And Jackal will probably be on the PR or the PGR this coming season. So.
That art is so sick.
Yeah, shout out to Glenn. He always does a very.
Glenn
it's
made
really
that.
cool,
I
man.
take it back. Never mind.
I hate it. No,
he liked it enough already for both of us. See ya.
that's true.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But yeah, so Nairo over Tweak, and then like you kind of see like that top 6 area looks. I don't want to say untouchable. It kind of morphs around, whereas James used to be on the top of the basically on top of the pool outside of Nairo, and then Tweak moved it around here, has hit a couple locals, and obviously he's Tweak. And then if you're interested as to why Nairo's over Tweak, yeah, definitely check out the podcast. But so you have that, but right, you have like the first 6, and then after that is what I wanted to talk about, 7 through 15. That seems to be just changing, and it really this was always kind of the ambition. Like it's just who's grinding at this particular time, and then who stays consistent and who wants to stay consistent. Because like you don't even see Gons on here, but Gons would have been within that top 6 area. But regardless, yeah, you got 4 new names here coming in at 11, 12, 14, 15, all new names, which I think is actually pretty good in the way of like encouraging competition and kind of building scenes and stuff, because you do have your staple players, a lot of the guys you'll see on global rankings, and then outside of that, you just got people like essentially trying to beat those names. And then as you can see, who was it? Who was it that had like it was Mateo. He had like the Mr. E win. I think he beat like did he beat James?
Yeah, he
like
beat
that?
James. He had a couple of other like really good wins. State. Yeah, this is also the reason why we go into it in depth in the podcast, but like it's the reason why we have people submit, because there's just people that we just straight up forget about otherwise. Like I think one complaint that we actually got was that the PR should be more objective, and I'm just like, no, that's a terrible idea. Like there's a reason, the numbers are there for a reason, obviously, but like yeah, it's interesting. Like those 11 through 15 spots are always like interesting on like because I feel like top 15 has been universally adopted amongst like
people
a lot of the
hated
big
it.
regions now.
People hated it. Hated for so long.
It's ridiculous because I think you need to do a power ranking based on how many like average entrants your tournament has. You know what I mean? Or like how many active, strong placing members that you're like. If you have a top 10 and everyone outside of top 10 is terrible, like didn't do anything, then yeah, okay, that makes sense. But if the data is loud enough, I feel like you can justify having at least 15.
And the thing is it's like, don't you just want to like get more players known? You know, like because
more data,
Yes,
dude.
yes.
I've always been a fan of, unless it's a terrible season. Like there's some seasons in New England where it's like we could barely scrape together 8 people. You know what I'm saying? Like so
that was our
That was Smash
was
4
our
last
that was our
season.
last Smash.
The last two for Smash 4 were
Oof.
fucking rough like that, bro.
Yeah.
People weren't playing.
Yeah.
Like, people just weren't playing as much. Like that's it is what it
Well,
is.
I'm just.
Lot of Bayonetta.
Well,
lot
I'm
of
just.
Bayonetta.
I'm thinking. I'm
Also
thinking.
that, yeah.
So think about the case in New York where they were super resistant to go top 15, and now they are. And look at this top 15. Look at it, man.
It's beautiful. It's a great top 15, truly. I mean, you could also argue that you guys are in tri-state and that you're a region that like pretty much even state PRs need a top 15 just because you guys are that stacked anyway. But you're saying people complaining in region anyway? That's ridiculous. You're telling me Ralphie and Utopian Array don't deserve recognition?
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, that's exactly right, because those are big names, and then if you see them at tournaments, and those are guys that are probably even Area 51 contenders. Like speaking of Area 51, you see Jen at number 2 here, above a PGR player who is Mr. E, and Sinji at 5th. Like, I don't know, man. That to me that says a lot, and I actually find the reason I want to talk about the PRs today is as we're looking at them, it is interesting to see how the global ranks stack up against just state ranks, because you are going to see fluctuations. Like Sinji, a PGR player, what number is Sinji? Do we know
number 30? No, he's 25, I think.
25.
He's actually 25. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then you're seeing I have to look at the New York results. I love how that Greninja has Venya's tattoo. I just noticed. Across his chest and arm.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
he's got like a snake tattoo across his chest or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude,
So.
he's like a fighter. That's definitely like a fighter thing to do, like a martial arts guy.
Yeah, I think you kind of see this pattern like across sans Philly, but like Philly's probably going to get a couple of, in my opinion, they're probably going to get a couple of reps on the PGR this coming season. But like you see this happen a lot in the Northeast, where like the top 5 or 6 players are all arguably PGR players, because like I look at the Massachusetts PR, like you have your standards like Mars, Light,
Derek.
and
whoa, Light is not Massachusetts, bro.
Oh, excuse me, my
that's
bad.
gonna cost you. That's gonna cost you commentary points, bro.
Gotta go.
You're gonna get people real upset with you. It's like like dealing with Florida. Like just don't get like just oh, he's from Florida. That's cool. Like it's like you have no idea where in that gigantic ass state. But yeah, I know you meant New England. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I gotcha. But this is specifically the Mass PR, correct?
Yeah, that one is, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like you see the same kind of thing. Like Raffy's probably going to be on the PGR. There's players like Lade who could obviously be like PGR. Matty G. If like there's just so many players that are so good.
Matty G's 5th, dude.
Why is he a character from Rocket Power when everyone else is in Urdex?
I just realized that.
This is bothering me. I'm a little triggered.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you, man. Somehow it's Uncle Tito. Is that his name? Tito?
It's Uncle Tito.
It fits Matty G so well. I think they were just like, whatever, we're going with it.
All right. I like that.
Exiled as Reptar is perfect too. He's our Bowser.
My guess is they probably ran out of Rugrats characters.
That seems possible.
No way, bro. There's plenty. Phil or Lil isn't even on there.
Wait.
No, Lil's at 14.
Is Angelica on there?
No, she's not.
Oh. What's Angelica's mom's name?
Angry. That's what I was thinking about. Angelica's mom.
Charlotte,
yeah.
Oh my
nice.
wow.
Jonathan?
Yo.
Jonathan.
Digging deep for
Jonathan's
that.
not on there.
Where's Mr. Lipschitz? I'm tight.
Where's the if we had a DK, it could be was it Glorb? Is that his name? Glorb Hungry?
Oh, Glorb Hungry, Glorb
Glorb Eat. Yeah, that would be our
Halt,
DK, man.
I am Reptar. Halt, I am Reptar.
He's got some real boomer hours right now.
Oh yeah.
This my god.
Oh,
the
yeah,
rails
boy.
have fallen off.
But anyway, yeah, it's a dope graphic anyway. I like it.
Yeah, I love that. That's super creative. And then we get into Connecticut power rankings, where I was correct before for Light.
Stack, dude.
Yeah. This state's really, really good.
Connecticut's ridiculous, man.
There are a lot of names on here. That's good to like. So this is why I like power rankings a lot. As someone who doesn't always know the other, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. I actually kind of do know the other scenes really well, but like I don't know all of the people on here. I have seen them in passing as they come to like tournaments around here and just other big events as they go on. But like, yeah, you see a lot of players here that you wouldn't otherwise know. Like,
you're also a neighboring region, you know what I mean? So like the fact that you barely heard of them, it's so important for the visibility of the scene.
mm-hmm.
Or like if I'm like I love watching Light play, and I'm like a Ness main, and I'm like, oh shit, there's a ranked Ness in Connecticut who plays against Light. I could watch that all fucking day. That's why, dude, I watch so many Canadian tournaments because they have so many good Ken players. So now I know a ton about the Canadian scene just because I looked at their PR or looked at their VODs and saw they have a lot of a character that I like to play as. So now I know a ton about their scene just because I watch their weeklies or watch their power rankings and shit. It's crazy. It's important, man. I think people just want to feel special about it and be exclusive for the sake of feeling special, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of
Like, it's a big
sense.
part of it. Yeah, I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah, but
Which
these,
I get that too. I get that angle too. I do.
yeah, it's kind of what makes
Can't
it.
do like like if I could do top 100 of our region, I would. That'd be dope.
Well, we'll wait for the fabled.
Yeah, Tri-State PR.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
read
Northeast
my
PR.
mind. That's the one.
Oh, it's Tri-State not out yet.
We
I don't
haven't
think
done a
it.
Tri-State
I don't
PR
think
in a year.
it just hasn't existed. Yeah, I actually think a Northeast would be amazing. More regions. Hold on, what
That
am I
would
looking
be-
for? Making okay. So it's like conferences in like the NFL. Like you have your divisions, and then you have like conferences. And I feel like that would be the structure that we need around here.
That'd be kind of dope.
IMO.
If we could get like all like the mine, like of the Northeast in like one Denny's parking lot for like 4 hours,
Appropriate, yeah.
we could totally bang it out. Like
That sounds
we'll all
amazing.
go we'll all go to a diner. Like we'll get a hoagie at Wawa or something. Like and we'll have a good time.
I'll
We'll
tell
make
you
it
what,
happen.
man. If everyone wanted to work together on that, I'd be super down.
Man,
I just
bro.
want to go to a diner. Honestly.
True.
I do think
Parking lot specifically.
Phillies is interesting. Do you guys think Juice will end up PGR? I feel like he will.
I think so.
I
yes.
feel like he will
Probably.
this
I
season.
think him and
that's-
Blazing Pasta. I think him and Blazing. IMO.
Juice has an S tier win on Light. I know that. He beat someone else too. Did he beat Mr. E? Is that who else
He beat Myron.
Oh, Myron. Okay. I feel like Myron was like the hot ticket PGR win this season. He was like
Yeah.
up there for like. Well, I mean his character and playstyle got fucked by that patch. So like other Olimars, like yeah, they got fucked too, obviously. But it was his playstyle in particular that really got fucked up. And you can see it. Like he definitely is the most vocal about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely very vocal about it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Philly is one of those regions I feel like is a little bit on the come up, and that's a little bit of the benefit of having a lot of the surrounding regions. These guys travel; they go to like the far tournaments, they grind.
Yeah, shout out to the homie Enzo, getting second in the region, I believe.
Yeah, I want to know how far he came up from the last quarter because I don't like Enzo's been good since this game came out,
I
but
think
since
he
he
was-
switched to Joker, he's been way better.
Yeah, I think he was like always top
Sounds
5
about right.
in the region. I think 2 is his peak though.
Yeah, definitely his peak. I don't think because the top 3 here has always historically been like 6, Juice, and I feel like and Pasta. And that's kind of just been it.
Yes, I think like 2 out of those. I think Pasta might be like a low PGR player, or like a 50. I wouldn't be surprised if he was an Area 51 player, or like a 50 to 41 player. And I think Juice might be like a top like 30 player, or in that range. Top
Dude,
40.
he's doing things with Falco that no one's doing. He like the combos. He's easily the best Falco to touch the sticks right now. I'll say that.
When can we stop calling him a ZSS main?
Dude, I don't know why we haven't already. His Falco's amazing.
Yeah, it's always an interesting couple of weeks, like after the PRs come out, and I actually find it like very cathartic that we all got our stuff out at once, like around the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And we were like a week late to getting all of our
Mhm.
stuff done. We're usually pretty on top of everything, but
It's been busy.
such is the life.
Yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah, it's been fun, and now we are nearing the end of the year, the end of Ultimate's nearing at the end of its first year, boys.
I think too like Melee is kind of done for the year because I saw after HBox won was it EGLX, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were kind of like, oh, HBox wins the last big event for the season basically, or for the year. So I was like, oh wow, I guess that kind of applies to us too, obviously, with the exception of Summit.
I think DreamHack is the last in November is like the last big thing, but DreamHack is not usually like the bread bringer when it comes to like
Nah.
at least for on the Melee side of things, like not everybody shows up to that. I don't know about the Ultimate side, but yeah, that's in Atlanta in November. So Yeah, we're nearing the end of it, and pretty soon I feel like in a couple of weeks we're gonna start getting that the rumblings of Terry Bogard coming out. So
Yes.
the game's about to change again.
Dude,
I think it's going to be a balance patch too. I think we're going to see changes to. I tweeted about it earlier. I think Donkey Kong's going to get a buff. I think he's
oh,
pretty widely considered a bottom 10 character, and I feel like he's very popular, and they've patched him in the past before. So I think he's due for a buff. To his disadvantage state specifically is how I feel about it. I think his offense is great. I think his advantage state is great, but I think his disadvantage is horrible, and he just loses because of it. And I also think we'll see nerfs to Game and Watch. Honestly, I think
whoa.
there's been enough. I think there's been enough complaining. I think there's been enough visibility around the character. I don't think he deserves it, but I feel like that's kind of the way things go sometimes.
Is this the
So
patch we see Palutena nerfs?
no, she doesn't
I don't
deserve
think
it.
they're. I don't
Honestly.
think they're coming. I don't think those
And
are gonna
Nintendo
happen.
likes Nairo, so no way.
Also that.
Well, I'd be blessed
I'm
with
just saying,
Sonic
bro.
buffs.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. The patches in the past haven't been like a whole lot of hard nerfs at all. It's mostly just been like quality of life, I guess is what you would call it, where they got
Yeah.
rid of things like the slow fast falls or like
yeah.
the certain kind of shield damage, and that's all been
Ironically,
uniform.
the two big nerfs has been to Pokemon. Because
Yeah.
Ivysaur got gutted and Pichu got gutted. So
Hey, but they also buff Charizard too, though.
God bless, love that guy.
I was gonna say that's
bad.
like a probability thing because there's so many Pokemon in the game, but then I remember that there's a lot of Fire Emblem characters, and I don't think any of those characters have gotten really one way or the other.
Put
Corrin got-
Gigantamax Charizard in Smash.
Corrin
Cowards.
got a little buff last time, I think, or two.
Oh,
two
you're
ago,
right,
That one
you're
big
right.
patch. Yeah,
Mhm.
the one where
Yes.
all the dragons got touched.
Did he got
Charizard, Yoshi, and Corrin, and Mewtwo.
true? Yeah.
And still no one using Corrin or Mewtwo.
I feel like Mewtwo's seen a little. You know who has seen a lot of visibility? Speaking of another dragon that got buff is Ridley. I've seen a lot of Ridleys on stream
Yeah?
recently. I feel like he was so
Yeah.
popular when he was announced because he's cool as shit, and then he finally got a baby buff, and everyone's like, "All right, let's go."
So who's your candidate your candidate is Donkey Kong character
Yeah,
you
for
think's gonna
buff.
get the glow up?
For the buff, it's DK, and I think Game & Watch will get a little nerfed. Not because I think he's overpowered, but because I think that's the culture, and I think because his playstyle, it's not necessarily that it's. I'd like to see him just overtuned a little bit, just like just fix him up like the way he plays, just a little, kind of like what they did with Olimar, where they kind of were just like, all right, you can still be degenerate, you can still do this and that, but you don't have a shield, so that's cool. Like, you can do all that stuff, and you still have broken up smash out of shield, like that's, or like your up smash shield does like 80 damage or whatever the hell, and your blue throws kill at 60, but your shield is a little messed up.
Yeah. So here are my hot takes. All right,
Sure,
they're gonna nerf Leaf Shield again, just
Oh,
because.
God.
I think
awesome.
they'll I think they'll get rid of Shulk being able to use Monado Arts and hit stun, or at least that's me hoping that they do.
I hope so. Yeah, I don't like that.
And I think they're gonna buff. I'm just whatever character I get on random is gonna buff right now because I'm playing right now.
You pick Snake.
Oh no,
Buff Snake.
Hits random
King
again.
Dedede. This is awful.
They might.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some heavies get buffs. Like after
Yeah.
after you mentioned DK, I'm just like I could picture a few like K. Rool could use a little help. Although I don't
Yeah.
really think he's super popular in the meta, anyways. Probably because
Yeah,
he's
no.
bad, but
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think they tried really hard in this game to make heavies work, and it worked out like 50% of the time. Like,
Mhm.
and one of them they had to buff, so Charizard they had to fix a little bit, but also like Bowser's super fucking good, and who's the other heavy that's like pretty solid?
Let's see, Bowser's good.
Fuck, am I thinking? Of?
Ganondorf, Ike.
Even Ganon's like he's not that good anymore. But I think they tried really hard to make heavies work.
Incineroar? Nah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like initially when the game came out, they all looked so good. Like Ganon, these were all high tier characters when the game first came out. Incineroar, Ganon, whoever the fuck else you want to say. They were King K. Rool was considered high tier, so I think they tried really hard to make them work, and it didn't pan out. So yeah, I think maybe a heavy buff could work out. Oh, the Shadows got buffed too. They're kind of heavy.
I just love that we get to speculate about this again because it's almost like at the rate that Nintendo releases new characters, it's like it gives us content to talk about like every 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah, man.
Here's a prediction too. Is I think the next DLC character when Terry is announced, we won't have one. I don't think it'll be ready, and I think they'll kind of just like skip over that because I think it was supposed to be a Blizzard IP, and I feel like they're gonna avoid that.
Damn,
Ooh.
dude,
And
yo,
The
you might be
tinfoil hat
right.
is on.
And so I
like
think we're gonna
this.
get nothing in terms of the next character, whether it be because of the Blizzard thing or just because.
The tinfoil
Damn,
hat is firmly on.
the lost,
Tinfoil has.
the lost ultimate
Tinfoil
character.
hat. That's crazy. No, I agree. That's definitely something crazy. I've also been hearing rumblings of Ryu Hayabusa on the internet, which is
Yeah.
I need that so badly.
that's
I
for
would
the
like that a
boomers.
lot,
That's
yeah,
definitely for the
That
boomers.
dude, Terry's for the boomers. Like
They've
I
been
need
doing a
more
lot of
boomer characters.
They've
Yeah,
been doing a lot of boomer editions, which is dope.
Chris, I'm excited for you to win your first tournament with the broken DLC
it's
character.
gonna be so good, dude. When I'm using Busta Wolf, it's so good.
We have to get you one of those like Korean like fight sticks with like the weird like oval knobs on it, just for the culture.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah,
What if we see like another like Sheik buff? I actually almost might not be surprised.
I might throw up, but
I
it's
would
fine.
mean, yeah,
No,
I would
it's
hope it
fine.
wouldn't be damage, but you know.
If Sheik's the answer to Mr.
She's
Game
fine.
Watch, by all means. I just hope whoever they buff is like the zoner repellent. I don't know, that's just me being a jerk, I guess. There's just so much to look forward to. Like Terry coming out, Pokemon comes out in like a few weeks, so
Yeah, I think it's a good stage for the game, and I think it's contrary to what you might see online. I've actually seen some rumblings. I mean, you know, take Smash Twitter with a grain of salt. I know I do. But, like, basically the rumblings of, like, wow, people don't like this game as much as they did, or this game has fallen off. When in reality, it's not. And people do still like it. But, like, I mean, the game's about to be 1 year old. Like, this is what happens. I think the core of the scene, though, is probably as strong as it's ever been. Top players are motivated. There's new players all the time. There's new characters coming out. Like, I don't know. I think it's as good a time as ever to be a Ultimate fan.
yeah. And we have at least 5 more characters coming out, so we get to do 5 more at least of these podcasts where we speculate on stuff. So I guess I guess that kind of covers everything we wanted to talk about today. So yeah, this was definitely a meaty episode. We covered a lot of good stuff. Considering we didn't technically have like a real podcast in like a week because of the power ranking stuff, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm excited. This time next week, we'll know who the summit champ is. We'll get to talk about all like the nonsense and you know, whether or not if the tinfoil hat goes on any harder. So it's going to be a big one. So anyway, I guess we can do the plug stuff now. So you can follow me on Twitter at Koopa New Jersey. I'm hanging it real close to home. Tri-State Showdown will be like the next big thing that I go to. And also, you guys should all go to DNA next Thursday. So
Wait, why?
Sorry, yeah, you cut out, yeah.
So next Thursday is Halloween, and that's the day of our weekly. So
Oh, I didn't know it was
Oh, nice.
Halloween. Damn.
yeah, we should all dress up in costumes. Let's all close out the podcast by saying what we're gonna be for Halloween.
Oh man.
Honestly, I don't think I'm doing Halloween this year.
I haven't-
I've gone both of the weekends, bro.
Gasp.
I have not even thought about a costume or anything. Honestly, I'll say it. I don't give a fuck about Halloween. Like,
Yo,
I'm not a Halloween guy. I don't give a fuck about it. Like, it's just not my thing.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that.
I wish I was more about it, but I'm just not, man. That's facts.
Yeah, I totally didn't buy a costume.
Sorry, man. I should let you go first.
That's fine. Yeah, I promised the internet I'd buy the adult Sonic the Hedgehog costume. So I'm gonna see if I can find one that fits me. Because if
You gotta
it's
stop
anything...
making promises to the internet, bro.
Honestly, you're right. The last time I bought a costume of like a video game IP, I had to get the costume cut off of me, not come off.
Oh my god.
That's funny. That's really funny.
It's very on brand, unfortunately, but nonetheless, though,
Jesus.
where can the beautiful people find you?
At Hazmat Rules, it's on Twitch and Twitter.com. Free website, so check that out. I don't know my next event. I'm pretty sure it's the New England Invitational. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're entering the slow part of the season, so I've been enjoying my time.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, are you like done traveling, like for Smash Bros?
I think so for the year, man. I'm trying to line shit up for next
I
year.
heard,
I'm trying to be proactive, bro.
I heard someone was gonna try and cover your costs to come to the last Platinum Star in December, but I'm not sure.
Oh shit. Is that
Ooh.
Nintendo?
Yeah, that's you guessed it.
Gotta thank him all the time. All right, yeah, I'd love. I mean, obviously, I'd
Dude,
love
I
it.
think that'd be
So
so
let's
sick. That's like what I want to
let's
start
talk.
doing. I want to start getting some of you guys like around here, just for like a fun like monthly, man. Just like chill. I feel like it
We'll
would just
take
add a lot.
Nice, yeah. And I mean, we do, and it's been a thing for a long time. Is like, Tri-State New England work very well together. I mean, we have two very similar scenes in terms of like viewership and PGR representation, and people want to watch us. It's just we're way more. We're like Goten and Trunks, you know, like we're pretty powerful little Saiyans
Yes.
on our own. But when we fuse, we're obnoxious and awful to everyone around us, but also very powerful.
And
so
we got
we're posing as adults.
and we
Yeah, exactly.
and we have that crazy like double voice thing that happens.
Yeah, that, and sometimes it doesn't go perfectly well, and sometimes we're like the skinny, like skeleton bone one, and like, you know, sometimes the hefty one, and you know, we don't find our stride perfectly every time, but when we do, it's beautiful.
Fat
I
go
dig it.
tanks, yeah.
Yeah, Fat Gotenks
God,
rules.
that's me, honestly. Like that's
That
a
was
mood.
that was like the original like Beeg or Beige like character.
Oh my god, look how serious his face is. Look at
Oh my
his
god.
face,
It's
dude.
so good, man. In this one.
This is
Fat
what,
Gotenks. Oh, look how cool he is on the left right there, though. He looks dope, man.
God, see, this is what
How
happens
intense he
when you
is,
get the
yeah.
fusion right. I mean,
It's a
this is
Tri-State New
it.
England
Yeah,
mashup
right
there,
there.
baby.
Look how cool it looks.
I will be Fat Gotenks for Halloween instead. I've changed my mind.
That's funny, dude. That's really funny. Oh, you
Yeah.
have like a Toad vest, don't you? That's like pretty
I
similar.
do. Did I ever tell you the Toad story of how somebody thought I was Fat Aladdin when I was just wearing the
God.
vest and not the hat? So this person had to come up and apologize to me, and they're like, "I didn't fat."
Chris size.
And I'm
Wait,
like, "Wait." I was like, "Wait, you called me fat?" Yeah, it was quite awkward.
that is
Chris, where can people find you at?
Dude, you can find me at CSantaZX. You can just follow me because I'm a cool guy. That's pretty much all I got. I would prefer y'all just go ahead and follow at Masterhand Games. Twitter's been good
There you go.
recently. Been getting a lot of the insiders from players from around here who travel and kind of how the tournaments go. A whole lot of retweets going on, so you guys could kind of stay abreast to all the action that goes on around here, and obviously catch all these podcasts. So if you enjoy these, make sure you give the thumbs up, share with your friends, and let us know what you might want to hear about. We say this all the time, and no one ever takes me up on it. But like, if you're listening,
Oh,
just do it,
dude.
man. Just talk
Yeah,
to us.
and let me echo that a little bit because I do stream a little bit on the side, and man, when there's even 3 or 4 people in chat just like having a blast, it makes it so much more fucking fun. So if you guys are enjoying the show, please engage with us. Like we're,
Yes.
you know, don't be shy, man. Like it helps the show out. Like because viewers, you guys have a unique perspective that is invaluable to, or as who's it, Michael Scott who called it, or maybe it was Fry who said it was valueless, or like it has no
Oh,
value.
yeah,
Like when he
something about my friends and they're worthless.
they're worthless. Yeah, they're worthless. They can't put value on them. So you guys have a point of view and an experience that is completely worthless. No, it's actually completely invaluable, and like it's something that we can't think of as, you know, people on the show. So if you have feedback or you have things that you think we should talk about or cover, I think that would be really great to just reach out
I
to any
think,
of us.
Yeah,
dude, it makes everything so much better, and then plus it's more of like I don't know, you could actually tackle things you guys are actually wondering about. I mean, I know we sit here and we tell you about a lot of things, but there's a lot more things that we probably look past because we're so close to all of this. So, yeah,
sure.
any suggestions, man? It's always appreciated.
Yeah, we're always trying to grow and get better, and we'll keep doing it until they turn our power off, at least. So, you guys can definitely look forward to that. But yeah, this time next week we'll probably be talking about Summit. I'll talk about how I got hungover parties this weekend, or something of the normie variety. And
Bro, I had the worst wine hangover last Saturday morning. It was embarrassing. Like, sorry, just to hijack real quick. It's
oh no, it's
we were out to dinner and there were just, you know, glasses of or bottles of wine being passed from end to end, and it just so happened that every time a bottle was passing by me, my glass was empty, so it kept getting filled. And after like 40-50 minutes, I was like, how many glasses of wine? Like, I went to go pour the other one, it was like kind of tough. I was just like, how many glasses of wine have I have? Oh shit, that's like my 8th one. Okay, I gotta chill a little bit. I woke up at 4 in the morning, terrible wine headache, you know how it is.
oh yeah.
Shit.
I imagine that episode of SpongeBob where like SpongeBob and Squidward or SpongeBob and Patrick keep getting their glass refilled by Squidward, and then like
Yes.
they just keep going back and forth, except you don't explode.
No,
Yeah,
I did
and
not
I'll-
explode. It felt
yeah.
like it though.
Also, we'll have, I guess, the last bit of Pokemon Sun and Moon or all Sword and Shield news
Oh yeah.
coming out. I think comes out next Monday. So
Huh.
by the time the podcast goes up, we'll know probably the last bit of big information regarding that.
The final form's probably the starters.
I hope so, man. Or it's gonna be more Long Cat. Whatever.
Dude, the new forms Butterfree's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. I think
Yes.
it's top 3. It's either 2 or 3. I can't decide, but I love Butterfree, so I'm very happy Butterfree.
Yeah,
got
they
the
went
attention.
full Godzilla monsters with some of those Gigamax forms.
Yeah.
It's something, but we can talk more about that in depth when the information comes out.
Hell yeah, man! I'm excited. It looks like a fun version, so whatever. I always try not to judge too harshly until the games come out because they're always fun. Like I didn't think Sun and Moon would be good, and I had a great time playing that game.
Reviews have been good so far, so
Dude,
I've been keeping myself very blind.
This is my favorite meme of
It's so
of
good,
Tall
dude.
Meow.
Tall meow.
Like fat Pikachu being held back by Goku.
It's such a It's such a Gen 1 callback. The Pikachu. It looks just like Gen 1 Pikachu kind of did, like the original art.
They definitely did that strictly just for the end.
Yeah, right there. It looks really cool.
God.
Like everything about it. It's very cool. They're doing a really good job with this game so far. I'm pretty excited. So whatever, we'll see. If it flops, it flops.
All I'm gonna
Yeah,
say is,
I'm gonna play it regardless.
Let's go Gen 1.
I like Gen 1, man. We're all boomers here.
Yep.
Gen 1ers, that's actually the term for it. So
I wouldn't say it's my favorite gen, but I do really like and appreciate it. And I thought the designs were very neat. I like the art style too. I thought the art style was so unique and cool. And I think that's honestly what pushed the game
Good
so far. Like, dude, it had to be amazing. Obviously, Gen 1 had to be amazing, or else we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, good take for sure.
It's facts. It's facts, bro.
Mm-hmm.
cool. So that has been the podcast for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Like and subscribe on all platforms available. Give us a follow on the internets if you like the way we sound, because we look even worse than we sound. But yeah, that's going to be it. And tune in next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
See ya.
See ya.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Again.